Welcome to another episode of Purchase to Profits. I'm Seth Ferguson. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our daily interviews with successful real estate investors. Our guest today has bought, developed, and sold over $250 million in real estate over the past 20 years. He's a serial entrepreneur, real estate developer, coach, and mentor. Greg Dickerson joins us today. Greg, welcome to Purchase to Profits. It's great to have you on the show.
Hey, Seth, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this and really appreciate you doing this on the go today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is, it's how I roll. I'm out in the field every day and, automobile, mobile office. I just pull over and, knock it out.
Yeah, we'll have to get you a car and a driver so you can do it from the back seat.
That would be good.
Yeah. All right. So let's start off talking about your real estate goals. What are you looking to accomplish now in real estate?
So for me, I just turned 52 this month, and I'm in the second phase of my career. I plan on living to 104, so I'm, second half, right?
Yeah.
I'm just more risk averse these days in my age. I'm in the mode of giving back, helping others, mentoring others. But as far as a deal mode goes, I look for fewer, bigger deals. I'm a developer. That's what I've been my whole career. I like to do heavy value add, heavy ground up type projects. So that's kind of what I'm doing, $20, $50 million deals, stuff like that. Some of the stuff that I do, it's very opportunistic. So I'll go into a vacant building, turn it around and make it an adaptive reuse or tear it down and redo it completely. So that's the kind of stuff that I like, things that are very challenging, very difficult. That's the kind of stuff that interests me.
Yeah. And at what point did you realize that it was time to shift gears with your approach?
After 2009, so I've been a builder my whole career and, 20 employees and, we built and self-performed and, that was my main business that provided cash flow to invest in other assets. After 2009, everything changed and I started outsourcing the building to other general contractors and I moved into more of the developer role. So kind of since then I've really evolved and I still do infill development, spec house development, things like that. My wife likes to flip houses, so I'll still do those. And, but it's all outsourced. I don't build anything in-house anymore. I hire architects, engineers, general contractors, and consultants to do all of the day-to-day and all the detail work for me. I'm just, the orchestrator. So I put the teams together, arrange the financing, create the opportunity, create the value, put the vision in place for the property, and then execute on it. And I lead, delegate, motivate. So that's really what I am. So it's really been over since 2009, but more particularly the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So really it's a theme of simplifying everything then. Would that be safe to say?
Yeah, for me, it's all about efficiencies and it's, and I know it's different for everybody. I heard somebody the other day that's getting into the business and they want to go vertically integrated and they want to do everything in-house and, construction's expensive right now, contractors are busy. So there's a lot of things, but to build all of that in-house, it's a lot of overhead, it's a lot of risk, it's a lot of, things that you need. For me, I'd rather pay 10, 15, 20% more, let somebody else deal with the headaches, let them take all the risk. I know what my costs are. I get guaranteed maximum price contracts. I know when it's going to start. I know when it's going to end. And we've got penalty clauses. So, to me, everybody that I ever learned from in my career, the big developers, the guys that were worth $500 million to $1 billion, my mentors, that's how they do it. They're not running around trying to chase subcontractors and haggling with material suppliers. They're hiring professional general contractors, professional, architects, engineers, and other firms to handle the day-to-day, and you leverage the resources of others. So that's what I've really learned how to do in my career, and thank goodness I learned it early enough. And even in my business before, when I self-performed, I still did the same thing. I had people that worked for me that were much better, much smarter than me, much more talented than I was at the day-to-day. Again, I'm a leader, delegator, motivator. So I hired great people and I still do, and I coach them to success.
Yeah. And would you say that just going back to, the thing that separates, that top level, $500 million performer, would you say that's the biggest difference now between the pack and those performing at that high level, just their ability to remove themselves?
Yeah. It's bigger thinking versus smaller thinking. So the small thinking is, I have to do everything myself. I'm going to shop everything myself. Nobody can do it as good as me. Big high level thinkers understand there's always somebody who can do it better. You find those people and you let them do their job. It's going to save you money and make more money and create more opportunity in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure you can think back to when you first started out, that there is a point where you almost have to do everything on your own when you're first getting going. So
Yeah.
how did that transition work for you in terms of moving from that, I guess, operator mindset to now that business owner mindset where you start putting in the systems?
So for me, it's, I'm just a natural born entrepreneur. So entrepreneurs create opportunity, they create value. They know, your whole goal as an entrepreneur is to work yourself out of a job, right? So you
Yeah.
want to create jobs for other people, not build yourself a job. And so it's just my superpower, my gifting. I've been wired from the beginning to work myself out of that day to day as quickly as possible and delegate and leverage others. I didn't go to college. I went in the Navy right out of high school. So I've had a lot of leadership training and development because I've always been a leader. I've always been put in a leadership role. And when I got out of the Navy, I worked in restaurants and construction. I always had my own little side business, and I worked in restaurants. So I've had management training. So I was just very fortunate at a young age to learn how to leverage others and to delegate and to lead others. So my philosophy has always been to keep other people busy, to create opportunities and jobs for other people. As long as I do that, I'm going to be fine. And the last thing I want to do is hire somebody and pay them and then do their job for them.
Yeah.
Or, like you don't get Tom Brady in and tell him how to throw the football, right? You help Tom Brady stay healthy and you let him do his thing and you protect him so he can throw the football. But, I'm not going to come in and tell him, what to do or how to do it, right? That's what he does. So, you find great champions, you find the Tom Brady's, you put them in place, aces in places, you put the quarterback at the quarterback position. You don't make him a wide receiver and you let him for a touchdown. So it's just the way I'm wired, and I never have problem letting go control. I know, again, the difference is most people think or have a problem with other people aren't going to do it the way I want to or as good as I want to. And, we're all different. So as an entrepreneur, you have to understand and embrace the fact that other people aren't going to do it your way. As long as you get the desired outcome in the same amount of time with the same amount of, efficiency and effort and profitability. I don't care how you do it, as long as we get the end result within the time frame I'm looking for, within the budget we're looking for.
Yeah. No, well said. So what sort of routines and rituals have you developed that have helped make you successful?
Number one, pouring into myself. So like I said, I didn't go to college. I'm not formally educated, but I'm self-educated. And I learned in the positions that I had with especially the restaurant company, a lot of great training there. But I've had a voracious appetite for learning. And I've just, everything I could find from professional development, personal development, real estate. I mean, I've read every book out there. I've listened to every program out there. I've gone to these seminars. I've had coaches and mentors in my life, and most of them were very high-level individuals, and I'm very coachable. So when I sit down with those people, I'm a seeker of wisdom. I ask the right questions, but more importantly, I listen, and then I do what they say. And that's what has launched my career, and that's what helped me do so much so fast. So I built my company from 250,000 to 30 million in 7 years, and started 12 other companies all at the same time, and started learning how to get into real estate development, commercial, multifamily, and all those other things, really all during that time period. And it was by pouring into myself, learning from others. And, what I've done is great. It's about $250 million, but it's not, like my mentors are, they're doing half a billion to $1 billion and more. And, so there is a difference, and these guys were college educated. A lot of them were MBAs, and, they started in the commercial world, and that's the world that they understood. So I had to kind of get up to speed, and I was still doing what I could do where I was at, building my business, getting it to the point, but they all started, the same way and built it up from there. So it's really interesting in terms of, how and why somebody ends up at $1 billion versus somebody who ends up at 250, 300 million. Just different points in our lives. And I got started in my 30s, and things like that. So,
Yeah. Well, what would you say then is the different, what is holding you back from operating at $1 billion level?
Well, nothing at this point. So in my early career, geographically, I was located on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So all I knew is what I knew, and that was the area I was operating in. And to me, coming from where I came from, I started with nothing. I had zero backing, zero investors, nothing. And I was in that area, and I was just learning, what I could do, and I was building my company. So I spent a lot of years building those companies. And I got distracted by, building these small little companies. Now, I didn't spend any time in them. I coached other operators, but I just kind of was focused on that, stayed with that, and it's just what I knew. And then later on, in my career towards that middle 2000s, toward the end of the 2000s is when I started making those connections. And then 2009 happened, so it kind of changed the game. And, then I started stepping outside of my area and doing deals throughout the region. So then I was really able to fastball what I've been doing. So I'm kind of on a tear now to get to that next level, but I don't want to risk what I've already done. So, I'm not putting what I have at risk. I've always been my own investor. I've always used my own cash. I never really had other investors, partner here or there. And I have people that want to invest now, but I'm very cautious. I'm very disciplined when it comes to investing. We're at the top of the market right now. Every asset class is, cap rates are under pressure, and they're very compressed in pretty much every asset class. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of poor decisions being made. So I'm just very careful, very cautious. And assuming I live another 30 years, there's plenty of time. So I'll get there. And like I said, I'm looking at the bigger deals now that make a lot more sense, that can get me there quicker versus before I was building $1 million houses. Now it's 20, 50, $100 million projects. So yeah, it'll get there.
Yeah, I like it. So is there a Keystone deal that comes to mind that made a big impact on you and your business?
Yeah, so really the first deal that launched my career, so I'd never built a custom home before I started building $1 million houses. I'd never built a house. So I went to my largest competitor, the largest builder in my area, and I hired some of his best people. So instantly we were able to start building $1 million beach houses. So I bought a hotel from my next door neighbor. I'd never done anything like this. He had it under contract. He had two partners, and they were going to tear it down and redevelop it into giant, multifamily or oceanfront homes, which are like mini hotels. They were going to do 3 8-bedroom houses on the site. And so I took the deal and I figured out how to do 3 12-bedroom houses. So I had 36 rooms, basically 36 doors in 3 separate structures on this property. And it was a simple, deal. He assigned me the contract. I paid him $10,000. I didn't know what I was doing, had no idea, never done anything like that. So that was my first real development deal. And it did a couple things for me. So one, it gave me the experience on the development side and how to redevelop that. But it also launched me all of a sudden. Now I went from this guy that was building, doing nothing but remodeling. And we were the largest remodeler in the area. And I'd done a couple little spec houses, but all of a sudden I went to that to being a $1 million oceanfront guy. So it just really changed the whole perception of my company, the whole brand, and it launched us into becoming one of the largest builder developers in the area. And that was really 2002, 2003. So the real growth of my company really happened in those last, 3 or 4 years from that project forward. Because from that point forward, I started focusing on nothing but oceanfront, nothing but $1 million, multi-million-dollar homes.
Yeah. And so what is it, do you think, that caused you to take action on that when most people wouldn't even see the opportunity or would be too afraid to take advantage of it?
I'm just a risk taker. I'm an entrepreneur, and, I had seen a couple of projects like that done by other contractors. And, the guys that I hired, they came from a company that did the first one in the area that tore down the first hotel and redeveloped it. So I knew what the possibilities were. I just didn't know how to do it. And my neighbor, he was like, "Hey man, I got this contract. We got cold feet. Do you want to do it?" So he even told me, and these guys were very high level, wealthy guys down there. One of them owned a bunch of hotels. The other one owned a big building real estate company. The other one was the partner. They owned Dairy Queens and hotels. So these guys were sophisticated. So when he came to me and said, "We don't want to do this. We got cold feet," I was like, "What the heck is wrong with this deal? What's going on?" Yeah. So part of me was a little scared, but the other half was like, "Oh man, it's a great deal. It's 3 oceanfront lots. I'm getting them at $400,000 a piece." It was the beginning of the market before they peaked. When I was done, they were worth $600,000. So I went in there, bought the property, flipped the lots to an investor, made $100,000 just flipping the property, and then I built him, 3 12-bedroom houses and made another $300,000. That deal made $400,000 or $500,000 for me and put me on the map as a general contractor. So, I'm just one of those guys that, if you ask people, how do you describe Greg Dickerson, people that know me, they're like, that dude gets stuff done. He makes things happen. He gets stuff done. He just charges. So, I'm a surfer, been a surfer my whole life. And there's a term in the surfing world called charge, right? And it's guys that just charge the big waves. You just go and you just charge, and I'm not scared. I'm just not scared. I just charge. And I've had that in me my entire life.
Yeah. No, I like that. Thanks for sharing that, because I think that's a really cool story with that deal.
Now, I knew what I was doing. I had a professional team of guys that I'd hired that had built, hundreds of those homes, right?
Hmm.
Prior to me, they came from one of the largest companies. So I had confidence in my team that they knew what they were doing. I didn't know how to do it, but I knew they did. I knew the property was worth what it was worth. I did all of my homework. I had an engineer evaluate. So I took all the right steps to mitigate all the risks. But I just said, you know what? I mean, fear is just an emotion. That's all it is. What a lot of people understand about fear is it's no different than love or getting upset for a minute or nerves, whatever, right? It's just an emotion. So when those thoughts of fear enter your mind, to me, I listen to those from a due diligence standpoint. Why am I afraid? Okay, well, what can go wrong? Then I start listing those out, and then I satisfy the due diligence on where am I wrong? Those are the questions I ask when I look at a deal. Once I understand that, this looks like a good deal, then what's there to be afraid of? So you just, boom, you just go and you knock it out. And once I did the first one, I was off to the races, and that just launched me. And then I started doing deal after deal. And next thing you know, we're doing $30 million and, we're rolling.
Yeah. Would you say that if you're not feeling some sort of fear, you're not pushing your boundaries enough?
I'm not so sure I completely agree with that, because there does come a point where you become very confident and competent in what you're doing. So you shouldn't be afraid of a deal after that, because then it's just what you do. Like for me, development is not risky and I'm not scared of it. But I talk to people all day long that are switching from, maybe residential and flipping and that kind of thing into commercial or multifamily, and they're scared. So maybe at first, but after you've become competent and you've done a number of deals, then there's really nothing to be afraid of, and you really don't experience that again. But yeah, I guess along the way, you could say that, a little bit of that fear is when you're pushing yourself and you're stepping outside your comfort zone and it's a little uncomfortable. But once you get good at it, once that's what you do at that level, then, I don't think there's, any room for fear, there.
Yeah, no, for sure. So how has getting involved in real estate changed your life? Because you mentioned that you were in your 30s when you got into the game.
Yeah. So, before investing in real estate, it was all about business. So my goal was, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and a lot of people get real estate out of that book. They read it and they get real estate investing. For me, I got build businesses that generate cash flow, then to invest in real estate to pay for your lifestyle. So I went on a tear to build businesses because I didn't have any money, I didn't have any credit, I had nothing. I had no training, I had no mentors, so I didn't even know you could invest in real estate. I didn't know. So, that was my path that I was on. And then once I was able to leverage that into real estate, it was lights out. That's when I realized, man, I can do 1 or 2 deals a year, make all the money I need to make. My lifestyle's covered. I have my own decisions. So I was able to coach all of my kids' sports as they were growing up, every one of them, every sport, be it, church and, volunteer in all the community association. I mean, I was able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. We could travel whenever we wanted to. The only thing we were limited by was a school calendar. So real estate transformed my life in a number of ways. Number one, the knowledge and skills that I've gained. I can do what I do anywhere from anywhere, just like right now. I've got deals going on. I'm sitting in a car in a parking lot talking to you, but
Yeah.
stuff's happening. I've had teams out there, deals are rolling, but I get up, I get out, and I make it happen still every day. And I'm still working hard. But the biggest thing real estate does for you is it frees up your time and it frees up your choices and your options.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so let's say, I know you're planning on living until you're 104, 10 years from now. So just a decade, where do you see you and your business going?
Continuing to do, so I'm, at this point, I'm kind of day-to-day, deal to deal. So, just continuing to do bigger deals and just find the right deals and be patient and be smart and not blow everything I've worked so hard for, because I do have that roll the dice in me. I do like to charge. I do like to get involved in deals and projects, and I kind of feed that through my coaching and mentorship programs. That satisfies that, entrepreneurial bug that I have. But really, one of my goals has always been to build a skyscraper, at least 20 stories or more. So, I'm kind of working on that. And I'd like to do that. I'm not really I don't have to be a billionaire. I don't have to do this or that. I'm just doing project to project, deal to deal, and just enjoying life and, really trying to use the wisdom that I've gained over the last 30 years to its highest and best use, and then help others do the same. So, to me, it's day to day. I don't really have this huge thing because I don't need to anymore. I did when I was younger, I always had these very, defined goals in terms of what I wanted to do for this company and this, that, and the other. Right now it's deal to deal. So my goals are deal based.
Yeah. Hey, gotcha. Well, no, this has been great. So if somebody's looking to get in touch, Greg, and learn more about what you're doing, where can they find you?
Yeah, gregdickerson.com is my website. All my information is there. I have a podcast, YouTube channel, pumping out a lot of content on how I did what I did, how I started from nothing, built what I've built. And it's mindset, it's due diligence, it's real estate, it's everything. I mean, I was a lifelong smoker, and, back in 2004, I quit smoking and lost 80 pounds at the same time. So, I'm one of those guys that knows how to set your mind on something and make it happen. And, so it's all of that I'm putting out. So it's gregdickerson.com. All my info's there, and, people can feel free to reach out to me anytime. And I love helping people and building businesses and doing deals.
That sounds good. Well, Greg, just want to say thanks again for doing this. You had some really good stories for us.
Yeah, Seth, I appreciate it, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, my pleasure. And to you, our viewers, I wish you well on your journey from purchase to profits. See you next time.